Karl Heinzbauer, the man credited with designing this car, along with a chap called Peter. Karl's 98 years young, you know, although he's probably not the kind of man who would say that. Mercedes decided to go back to some of their more angular designs from the generation before the generation where they started to copy the Sierra jelly mold type stuff. Car design does that. It flips from smooth to jagged to smooth to jagged, like a pencil-powered seesaw. Maybe it's nostalgia, maybe it's because we always think fondly of things that we used to have that we haven't now.
Which is
the W204 is the third generation C-Class, and maybe the idea was to hark back to the days ever so slightly of the E190 to make it appeal to minicab drivers. Unlike Audi though, Mercedes started to follow the likes of Ford and Vauxhall, with changing the design quite a lot rather than just a bit. Rather than making subtle pen lines here and there, they just scribble up the whole thing. Well, we want a saloon car, we want it to look a bit bland, but also like it knows something you don't. But with that, I think they might have failed ever so slightly, because you just don't really get this sense of Mercedes brotherhood. Mercedes played safe. Not a bad idea if you want lots of people to buy your car, and the W204 was indeed a sales success. They're all over the place. They're still all over the place. I have an opinion that maybe very few people will share. Design of door handles. All door handles seem to be the same kind of thing now. They're quite a nice feel to them, but on this car and on many others, they just look completely wrong. Door handle on the front looks like it was designed to go with the rest of the car, and I do like the door handle, but door handle on the back looks exactly the same, but it appears to be in the wrong place. It's too far that way. It should be here. And although all the gubbins necessary to make the door handle work would mean that it's in the wrong place if it was there, I think they should have thought of a way around it. Perhaps I should stop banging on about that, but it just distracts me. It's just so wrong. It's like when they decided where to put it, they had a blindfold on and had a game of pin the tail on the donkey. Besides that, the design is elegant, it's sleek, it's understated. It is exactly what's needed for most people. And they did keep the prongy thing on the front as well, which is a nice touch. It's probably fair to say though that this particular type of car is prone to paint damage when you scratch it or back it into posts. It's also prone to dents if you do a similar thing. Bodywork repairs can be costly and ineffective if done poorly, like that bit there. That bit of nonsense was delivered to you in the assumption that you're going to be smart enough to know when I'm taking the piss. Not everybody is, you know. The bonnet opening design is rather good. It's on gas struts, but it also just keeps on going back, so you can put it into service position without doing any unclippy things anywhere. This engine is the 2.1 litre diesel, branded as the 220 for some unknown reason. Unknown to me anyway. Nice touch. The boot is adequate for putting all sorts of stuff in the back that you should put somewhere else normally. And of course there was an estate version, which was bigger, more practical, more desirable, better looking, probably more expensive. Overall, the car is known for being reliable, especially with this diesel engine. It's also renowned for having a cool key, which, if you do end up with the steering lock failing, you can't start your car, so that's not particularly good. Overall, the car is quite unremarkable until you get to the inside and you find that the leather seats are MB Tex and they're as hard wearing as a frying pan made of Jaffa cakes. In the back is surprisingly spacious. This is the first time I've sat in the back of this car. There's a very little need to do it, and it's alright. These are the only cup holders that the car has in the back, which is the right place for them to discourage you from drinking and driving. I'm now going to put up all of the windows so we can test the door shut sounds. It's not fair to do it with the windows open because it changes the pressure on the inside of the car and highlights sometimes a slightly flabby regulator design. Good. Not as good. Let's talk about the interior quality and satisfaction rating. Clearly the seats are inferior and they're not even that comfortable. They're quite hard. and not as supportive as I would like. The rest of the car has a few nice features and it's reasonably good, but it just doesn't feel very special. There was a time when Mercedes were way ahead of the game when it came to interior quality, along with a couple of other car manufacturers as well, whereas the popular stuff like Ford and Vauxhall were making really hard, nasty plastics everywhere. But by the turn of the century, Ford and Vauxhall improved everything. They started making dashboards of nicer material, and they put the same kind of stuff on the door cards and everywhere else. Just as Mercedes decided to do the same thing, but the opposite way round. This dashboard looks like it could have come out of a Ford or a Vauxhall. It's all reasonably good, but just not special. And this here, the door pull. Listen to that. 12 years back, I was the proud owner of a Mercedes S210. And one of the things I particularly liked about that was this door pull, because it had a lovely weighted, smooth feel about it. You just pulled it and it just popped out. There was no creaking, there was nothing dissatisfactory about it. Am I being picky? When you find yourself enjoying opening your own door because of how it feels, and then at a later date wishing you didn't have to open the door because you've got to pull this, well, maybe I'm not being fussy. Maybe I'm pointing out something really rather important in the consumer world of door pulls. Mirrors. Good size and shape. Then we come to the center console, which is operated by a button there, which is kind of in the wrong place, and it springs open like that. It's interesting because you can put something in there and struggle to get it back out again because this is in the way. And then we have a little recess there to put coins in, which you can never get back out again because it's too deep and you can't get your fingers in it. A little slide of it to keep your licorice all sorts in. And notice, unlike a French car of this time, it only has 2 stalks, and they're both on the same side. The confusion dial is extra confusing because it only does one thing. You press it and it brings up the radio, and then you turn it and you, no, oh, hang on, shouldn't that be doing something? Don't know. The turning circle is excellent, which is a good thing, but the steering does lack feel. It's not an exciting car to turn corners in, but then it's also a very relaxed car. There's no real urge to do anything silly in it. And I might add that this is my car, and pretty much from the moment I got it, I was like, yeah, it's alright. It didn't really do anything for me. But as time went along, I found myself being just quite satisfied with it. And it's surprisingly good on the open roads where you get a bit of speed up. Then the steering seems to make a lot more sense. It actually handles quite well. If you at all appreciate a car that just does its job without complaining, without showing off, without having to tell everyone about it, this car definitely does not blow its own trumpet. And you just drive it around with nobody looking at you, feeling completely anonymous. And sometimes that's quite a nice thing. Once you stop looking at the dashboard, then it starts to feel like a Mercedes. That's what Mercedes did. Mercedes basically just made a car that did its job. You, as the driver of the car, are the employer, and the car itself is the employee. And Mercedes is the kind of employee that turns up and does its job efficiently, gets paid, goes home, and sometimes does a bit of research afterwards. It doesn't turn up in expensive trainers or a flash suit. It's not pretentious, it's not precocious. It doesn't have a trendy beard and never turn up for work on Friday because they went on the lash on the real ale on Thursday night. It is simply a car. And a car is a saloon, not an SUV, not even an estate. An estate car is a bit like a car with walking boots and a raincoat. Great for when you want to go walking and wearing a raincoat, but when you just want to turn up for work with your briefcase in the boots, the saloon car does the job better. Or does it? So really, I can respect this car because I can be ambivalent to it as well. I don't need to be excited by it. I don't need to look at it and go, oh, I don't need to have that feeling where I have to turn around to look at it as I walk into the shop with a trolley. But then, when you want to, it does pick up really rather well. And the brakes are excellent on it. Maybe I'm just used to driving cars that don't have very good brakes. In conclusion, despite the dash being a bit Ford or Vauxhall-y and the seats being a bit shite, it's actually a very satisfying car. You may have figured I was going to say that. It's like a company that does a really good service, but doesn't bother you by asking you to do a customer service satisfaction report. Survey. Questionnaire. I think I've covered everything. Would I recommend you buy one? Yeah. If I was on the lookout for a saloon car right now, even though I've got one, I wouldn't dismiss the Mercedes 220. Yes, thank you for watching, and if you're not a subscriber, why not do hitting that subscribe button? Why not press that bell icon as well so you can be bombarded with notifications? Thanks to my current subscribers and my channel members, and anyone who liked this video, and anyone who pressed like, and anyone who commented. And for now, bye-bye. They did a 1.8 compressor, which was a 1.8. They did a 3 litre and they did a 3.5 litre. Although at this stage, I haven't read into finding out whether they are 3 and 3.5. Because I could be wrong. Oh no, it's too high for me to reach. I would be saying that if I was 5'5".